Hello and welcome to the Flourishing Introvert Talks with me, Jo Rawbone. This is the podcast that celebrates the natural gifts of introverts so that we can flourish in all situations. Episode 210, Stuck in a Moment. Have you ever, for no comprehensible reason, felt yourself drift into the doldrums? I don't mean the actual region of the Atlantic Ocean, known for its calm, windless conditions that often leaves sailors stranded for days or even weeks. I mean the metaphorical doldrums, that sense of inertia and stagnation characterised by a lack of motivation, low energy levels and a general feeling of malaise. Yep, that doldrums. This isn't a poor me episode though, so stay tuned because even if you don't experience the doldrums drift, as I call it, you may know someone who does, and what I share will probably be really helpful. This drifting, and it is a drift and not a dive, happens to me rarely, but when it does, it's typically at this time of year. It's mid-February right now, and because I'm in the northern hemisphere, that means dark and cold and dreary days. If you've ever seen one of Lowry's artworks, our days at this time of year feel like I'm living in one of his paintings interminably. The truth is, I'm probably low on vitamin D, and it's been some time since I've had time away, and even longer since I've spent time in sunnier climes. I recognised some years ago that I'm a SAD sufferer. That's seasonal affective disorder, if you've not heard of the abbreviation before. And how appropriate is that acronym, as SAD is what many of we sufferers feel at this time of year. For more than 8 years, I travelled to the Middle East for work every couple of months for a week or so at a time. Being in the sunshine that regularly and able to splash along the shoreline of the warm seas after a day of delivering training helped me to recharge all of my well-being batteries. I always travelled alone, which people often expressed concern about, but it was exactly this that enabled me to top up my mental, social and emotional batteries. Imagine being recognised and warmly welcomed by hotel staff, a gorgeous hotel room all to myself for a week or so, choice of restaurants, close to the beach or the Corniche. As an introvert, what's not to love? Frankly, it was my idea of heaven. And as much as I love my husband, and I do, being in my own space meant I was able to enjoy my time at home once I got back. As introverts, we can get badged with the label misery or get called antisocial far too quickly. So finding myself in this predicament leaves me with a bit of a problem. Admit it and talk about it, or plaster on the I'm fine face and hope it soon passes. I've chosen the former, so in this episode I'll be attempting to share my thoughts and, dare I say, even normalise talking about not being okay. Because it really is okay to not be okay. My experience of the doldrums may well be less severe than other people's, as I don't suffer the persistent and pervasive sense of ennui that can significantly impact daily functioning. So actually, I count myself lucky. Everyone experiences periods of low mood from time to time, and I'm no different. I get through most days adequately well and do what needs doing. I just feel thoroughly meh. Is this resonating with any of you? Or seeming familiar when you think about friends or family? If so, that means I'm not talking into a void and what I'm sharing may serve to help someone. There are various factors that can contribute to the onset of the doldrums: stressful life events, work-related issues, or financial difficulties that can trigger these feelings of sadness and hopelessness. And hopeless was a word that I used when sharing with my team how I was feeling recently. I think they were a bit concerned initially, as they've not really known me like this before. Other reasons that can trigger it don't necessarily apply to me, and maybe that's why I'm not seriously impacted. I don't experience social isolation, lack of purpose. Many of you know my purpose all too well. Nor do I experience a sense of disconnection from others. However, the neurotransmitter dysregulation associated with SAD does contribute. I have a firm belief that the first person I need to turn to for help is me. It's part of who I am as a resilient and resourceful introvert, and is a natural preference for many introverts like me. So what can I do to help myself, to mitigate the symptoms and improve my overall sense of well-being? In other words, what can I do to bring myself back to me? Fortunately, there are some evidence-based techniques that are relatively easy to deploy and that I know from experience work for me. I'm sharing them here in the hope that if you need them, they may work for you too. Firstly, I'll get my light box back out. This light therapy, also known as phototherapy, involves exposure to bright artificial light for a specific period of time each day. Using a light box has been shown to alleviate symptoms of SAD and is believed to regulate our circadian rhythms. So first thing in the morning, my light box will be on my desk as I'm working. Next, I'll get back to walking outside every day, even though it's grey and dreary. Wherever possible, I take myself to the seaside, as the combination of the smell of ozone in the air, the sound of the waves breaking on the pebbles, and the feel of the sea breeze and spray on my face always lifts my spirits. We know that exercise acts as a natural mood enhancer, and the full sensory experience of being close to the sea magnifies that effect for me. Then I'll spend more time with those who light me up. I'll get to see my dear friend Helen and her son tomorrow, and they give the best hugs. I'll also get to spend time with a dear soul, Shelley, who also gives great hugs, and we'll talk about gardening and the benefits of getting our hands in the soil. That's so therapeutic for both of us. And this week, we'll talk about the sweet box plants that we've both recently found and adore. Hugs are massively important to me, and last summer I learned from a new friend, Karen, the importance of hugging left side to left side. This is so our hearts are close as we hug, and I can't tell you how much I actually feel that. Just watch though. Most people hug right to right, so they're missing out on the real benefit. Next on my list is something I know I've been neglecting: healthy lifestyle habits. It's time to prioritise my self-care activities, which will enhance both my physical and emotional health. I'm back practising yoga now that my beautiful teacher Celia is back, and I need to up my water intake. That's always so much easier for me in the summer, but often falls away in the winter. I have some fabulous new herbal teas from Mother Cuppa though, which are as delicious cold or warm as they are hot. I think it's also time to book another reflexology treatment with Julie. How blessed am I to have so many wonderful, genuine and kind people in my life. I'll end the day with my gratitude practice, even when I'm drifting in the doldrums. And I'll also add in some qigong and some meditation. These all help me to be mindful, to get really present and to feel the energy of life. I love Qigong for this and am learning new practices almost every day. So what am I grateful for today? Well, I'm grateful for my team who have been patient, kind, understanding and proactive during my drifting. Their virtual hugs and care have meant the world to me. So what can I take from this exploration of my drifting? It's that I can do a lot to help myself. I've never been one for enjoying feeling hopeless and even less feeling helpless, for I am neither. I am hopeful and helpful. Hopeful for my future and for the futures of those I advocate for, and helpful to and for myself first, so that I can be helpful to others once I'm replenished. I'm ever the optimist, which is probably why this drifting feels so uncomfortable for me. I'm minded of U2's track, Stuck in a Moment. I won't sing it as that's not my forte. But you may remember these words. You've got to get yourself together. You've got stuck in a moment and you can't get out of it. Don't say that later will be better. Now you're stuck in a moment and you can't get out of it. And if the night runs over, and if the day won't last, and if your way should falter, it's just a moment. It's just a moment. This too shall pass. And so it shall. This is just a moment in my life which will pass. That doesn't negate or diminish what I'm feeling right now. And my intention is to empower us all to be able to talk about our whole range of emotions without shame or guilt or fear. Finding someone or a space where we can feel safe enough to emote authentically is essential for our well-being. I've come to realise that while people have no control over the duration of their time in the nautical doldrums, I have control and influence over my stay in the metaphorical doldrums. Thank you for staying with me through this exploration, for I have remembered how it is possible to summon up the winds of change, the very winds that will assist me in navigating my way out of the doldrums, so I stop drifting aimlessly and emerge stronger. And my heartfelt wish is that you remember that too. If you enjoyed this episode as much as I did, then please subscribe, rate us and leave a comment, because we know that that helps other people find the podcast. And if other people find us, other introverts can flourish.